We are recording. We'll start the meeting with the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to our April 1st, no fooling meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the village board meeting minutes from March 18th, 2021?
Moved.
Megan, Ruth second. Any changes, questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Citizens' comments, trustees' comments. We'll start with Mark.
I'm going to stick to the agenda tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Mike Shepherd.
The agenda's good with me too, thanks.
Okay. Who we got next here? Ruth Seco.
Just the agenda, thank you.
Okay. Bruce Stebbins.
Just want to make sure board members know that I sent an email to them in the last half hour that has water rates in it. Other than that, I'll stick to the agenda.
Okay. You're looking for comments on those water rates?
No, I'm providing a recommendation.
Okay, good. All right.
Of course, comments are welcome.
I have a few things. I'd like to congratulate Lauren Russett. She's a new director of the Greater Baldwinsville Chamber of Commerce. I don't know how many of you know Lauren, but she's a fireball. She is a go-getter. She's young, enthusiastic, just what our village needs, young people. And she's just started this week. And hopefully you'll see her out and around at events as things open up a little bit. And I think it was a great move by the chamber to hire Lauren. I think she'll do a great job.
Did you get all the trustees?
Pardon me?
Did you get all the trustees?
Yes, Andy's not here. So there was just 5 of you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he asked me, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Meg.
And I don't think he asked Mike Shepherd, but I didn't have anything.
No, he asked me second.
Didn't ask Mark, did he?
Megan, did you have anything?
No, but I will just let you, I was gonna comment on your comment about Lauren to say that she is also the new office manager for the volunteer center. So hopefully those 2 positions will be a nice crossover, and she'll have her fingers on the pulse of Baldwinsville.
Yep, she can deal with the businesses and with the volunteers. That's about covers it, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, Megan. I didn't mean to miss you.
That's okay. I didn't realize you had missed me until Bruce said something.
I always know Bruce is going to catch me if I goof up. On a sad note, I would like to note that a longtime zoning board member and a former 2014 Woman of the Year, Connie Taft, passed away this week. If you knew Connie, she had a smile that never quit, a laugh that was infectious, and she was just always there. If somebody needed somebody to volunteer to get involved with something, Connie was in the middle of it. She's very supportive of the village and the community, and to her family and her huge number of friends, I send my condolences, thoughts and prayers to all of them. Let's see if I have what else I might have here before I shut down. We got something from, where did it go? From the canal group, Cycle the Erie Canal. Every year they have an event that runs from Buffalo, this year starting on July 11th, and then they cycle the Erie Canal all the way to Albany and finishing up July 18th. It's a wonderful trip. They've got very strict COVID plans in place to protect people. They've limited the number of people who can participate because of that. They've taken great precautions. If anybody is interested, would like to bike the canal, I have posted on our Facebook site the connection to register. It's a site Erie Canal Tour at ptny.org. It's a lot easier to get it off the Facebook site than what I just said. Sometimes they stop here on their trip through. Different groups have stopped here. I know the chief has come down a couple times because he's a big biker to visit with some of them. They have the one that comes across the whole country is really exciting because they're from all over the world. But this one that cycles the state, it's those people are pretty interesting too. And I'm not sure if this is the one that benefits Roswell Park, the funds they make. But if you're interested, if you're a biker and it's something you think you'd want to do and go to Buffalo and bike to Albany over a course of a week, go to our Facebook site and sign up. The state has apparently decided that cannabis will be legal to buy in the state. It won't be at least until the end of the year because there's some things they're working on, but they've taken the steps to make that legal. There were some concerns that a lot of us locally had. Our mayor's group particularly had talked about it. Originally, counties or towns or cities could opt out. The villages had no say. So if you didn't want cannabis, you had no option to say no. If you did and the town you were in said no, then you couldn't. Now villages have a say also. We can opt out, we can stay in. Something we'll have to decide by the 31st of December. I'd like you all to be reading up on it if you get a chance. Go online, whatever way you go to find information. See how we want to vote. Some people think it's a drop dead clear issue. No, can't possibly be any question you'd want to do it or not do it. I think there's questions both ways. There's
Mayor, you're referring to having allowing a dispensary for sale in the village, correct?
right.
Okay, because obviously the law passage immediately allowed for cannabis to be possessed legally in the state, up to 3 ounces by anyone, and also can be smoked in public anywhere where cigarettes are allowed to be smoked. So people can walk in the Four Corners and smoke it there if they'd like to. Not that I'm advocating it, but that is legal now.
Okay.
So
I was curious.
under the law, it is legal to smoke anywhere where cigarettes or tobacco is allowed, shall we say. So obviously, our parks are tobacco-free places, so they can't be utilized in those places. But elsewhere in the village or anywhere in the state, as long as tobacco is allowed to be used, so is cannabis.
Okay, very good. Thanks for clearing that up because I was curious.
Yes.
Nothing I read dealt with that. Another question was, the only money involved was going to be sales tax money. It would go to the state, and then the state would decide what went back to the local municipalities. Well, now what they've done is the state is going to have a 9% excise tax on the sale of cannabis, and they're going to allow a 4% additional excise tax that would be divvied up amongst the local municipalities that have to deal with it. Because there are questions as far as how do you determine if a person that you stop somebody and the police do. I'm sure Mike's police folks have all been talking about it. What do you do if you stop somebody and you assume that they're too high to drive? They're over the limit, whatever the limit might be. At this point, I'm not sure that they've established something like that. And I don't know that there's a way to determine physically if somebody, other than observation, the person could not walk straight, couldn't hold his head up. He obviously was too stoned to drive. But I know that some of the money that the state is going to take in is going to be used for the science of all this. And again, Mike's in a position where he may get different information, more information than I get because he's hearing it from other police people who are working on it. But there is some concern For instance, what do you do in the workplace? We have a DPW, and we drive high-powered heavy equipment. Do we say, we probably would have to pass a law to say you can't take, pain medicines that affect your ability to drive. You can't smoke pot and drive. But what are going to be the means in which we test people if we suspect that they have been smoking? Those are questions I haven't seen the answers to.
Mayor, if I could just interject, marijuana is still classified as illegal under federal law. So we've obviously have a department policy that they can't use narcotics and those types of drugs. My guess is, and I could talk to Chuck might know, but under the CDL provisions, with it still being listed as a narcotic under federal law, I guess we could do some research to determine whether that would impact a CDL operation or not. My guess is it would. To that point, I know our policy procedure, and we reiterated that when we issued something to our staff yesterday on this very issue, is that it's still illegal under federal law. Our policy is still in effect, and it's not going to change. So, but it's still classified as a narcotic under federal law.
Okay. Well,
And Mike is correct about the CDLs, but that only covers the trucks. The pickups or the heavy equipment are not classified under your CDL. So that's something we'll have to work with Mike or get some advice on what to do. The
Yeah,
backhoes.
really, that would probably be something for the village's labor attorney and to deal with, and we'll have to see how that moves forward with things.
Okay.
So
Thanks,
Is it
Mike.
ounces or grams? What was that again? Ounces or grams?
right now you can possess 3 ounces, which in
I was just
terms-
looking up a picture. That's a lot.
Oh, it's about 50 joints, so to speak. Yeah. No, 3 ounces is a sizable amount. It's not a small amount. Yes, your pictures are not
I
lying.
just looked. I couldn't believe how much it was.
Yeah, no, they're not inaccurate. They're quite accurate. I'm sure.
So there's still some things to be worked out, but
Oh.
we'll have to pass a law. Well, I believe, I have to read again, but I believe either way we go.
And I will get something, I'll get something out to the board. I tried to download this. It was difficult yesterday to do that, but I was going to put together an outline basically of the contents of the law and what the municipality, what the village needs to do or can do. So I'll get that out to the board.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Bob. And thanks, Mike. Just for people to know, I got a notice from the judge that courts will reopen April 14th. That's a Wednesday at 4:00 for in-person appearances. And all protocol that was used before the recent shutdown will be used then. So there'll be somebody at the door screening people. They'll have to wear masks. I believe the protocol, if I remember right, was only one case in the building at a time. The best thing to do for people who are involved and want to set up a time to go to court or find out when they can is to call the court at 315-635-6355 and find out with the court clerks whether they have an appointment thing to set you up so that your court time will be 5:15 on Wednesday. And, hopefully you'll be out of there for the next person to come in at 5:30. Mostly the last time it was traffic stuff. They weren't getting into criminal cases. So I will, again, check with the court and find out if your case is one that can be taken care of and how you have to go about it. I believe that's all I have. I was mentioning to the board previously that we are working hard to get some protocol in place for reopening buildings, not all buildings, but like the senior center, restrooms, things like that in the village. We shut them down before. We did not open the restrooms all last summer because the protocol was to clean them every hour, 7 days a week. We don't have the manpower to do that. And it was going to be very expensive to hire somebody to do that. And not knowing how long things were going to go on with the COVID and how bad it was going to be, you know, we didn't invest in that kind of cleaning, and we are getting a little bit looser guidelines now. So some of that stuff, we're hoping we can get the softball fields going. We're hoping that there'll be some concerts, even if on a limited basis, that type of thing. And so just kind of hang with us as we get through this. It's not easy. There's nobody, there's really doesn't appear to be anybody who is the Wizard of Oz that you can call and get all the answers or a straight answer on a lot of it. So we're working. Hopefully we'll have answers quicker than you expect. Let's move on to department heads. We'll start with our attorney, Bob.
I'll stick with the agenda.
Okay. Codes officer, Greg.
I do want to mention a couple things. Started receiving some complaints about garbage, furniture, things like that being left at the curb. For some amount of time, we've had a lot of garbage blowing around in the village recently with the winds that we've had. And it stems from people just placing their garbage at the curb much longer than they're allowed to. You can't place your garbage out more than 12 hours before it's supposed to be picked up. And those cans need to be brought back to the house within 12 hours after pickup. And we've also seen quite a bit of furniture being put out at the curb. The village and your normal trash pickup will not pick those items up. You need to call your trash hauler to make a scheduled pickup for that item. And those are violations to leave those out at the curb. And other than that, I'll stick with the agenda.
Okay, very good. We'll move on to our village clerk.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that earlier today, I and the chief and lieutenant met with our PERMA representative. PERMA is our workers' comp carrier for a risk assessment review, and I believe it went well. So I think they were going to send us a few forms to look at and maybe utilize, but otherwise that went well. And the only other thing is taxes. Today was the last day for taxes to be paid without a penalty. So from now until the end of October, we are still receiving taxes, but it is with the penalty listed on your bill. Otherwise, I'll stick to the agenda.
Okay, any questions for anybody? Okay, move on to our treasurer, Anna.
I do not have anything unless someone has questions for me.
I guess you're all set.
Okay.
Thanks, Anna. Senior Center, Ruth.
Just a couple things. Today we did have an Easter giveaway, and since it was April Fool's, it was snowing for that, but it went great. And we had about 40 something people come by. So that was a nice chance to see everyone and give them a little treat. Also on Monday, the 12th, we're going to start our walking group outdoor activity, meet in the Senior Center parking lot on April 12th, 9:30. And we usually walk about a mile. So just so you know that you do have to wear your mask and dress appropriately. Also on April 15th, you can make an appointment to come in and get some craft supplies. We're doing a craft giveaway. We have a lot on hand because our craft group hasn't been meeting and people have continued to donate. So just give us a call and we'll set up an appointment. You can come in for about 20 minutes to take a look and see what you might want to use. So that's on April 15th. And also want to let folks know that the county, through the Caregivers Institute, is doing a Zoom meeting on Medicaid, an overview for 2021. That's on Thursday, the 15th from 6 to 7. If you just give us a call, I will give you the information on how to register for that. And that's it, unless anybody has any questions. All right, thanks.
Nice to see the crew today for the Easter giveaway.
And the white snowflakes.
And nice to be able to remember who some of them are, you know. Okay, we'll move on to Public Works. Chuck.
Okay, we had, this week we've had a couple of water breaks. We had one, well, we had one last week down on Morgan Road. Tappan Street has been closed a couple of times and it's going to be closed again. They had a leak over on Tappan. And first bucket they put in the ground, they tore out a gas line. The gas line was mismarked. We were over in that area earlier this year and they had a really hard time finding it. The gas line just went where the gas company thought it was not. So they had to pull off the water leak when the gas company came in. I know Bruce had said to me, it looked like the whole village was over there, but we had the water guys there. The highway was over there working on catch basins because we're trying to get there ready for the blacktopping. But they went in and fixed their gas leak, and we're gonna have to go back in next week one day and fix the water leak. The big question of the day is yard waste. Yard waste is going to start Monday morning, April 5th. So we'll be back. We'll go through the entire village at once. Then we're out doing potholes. Some of the playground maintenance, we've been trying to get in and do some of the maintenance in the playgrounds. We got quite a bit to do. Looking to get the kayak docks back in here soon, the regular docks back in there soon. And we're just pretty soon be making a transition from, one would hope, plowing snow to the summer stuff. And after we're sure that it's not going to snow anymore, we'll get back in and start cleaning the sidewalks, getting the benches back out. Won't be long for the flowers are here. Get the flowers up and go from there. Other than that, unless there's any questions.
While you mentioned the flowers, if people are interested in getting one of those hanging baskets, it's $50 for the basket, and you can do it in memory of somebody or to honor somebody. And it's a real nice tradition. Our village looks beautiful when those flowers are out. And contact the garden club. I think if you go through the Chamber of Commerce, they'll hook you to the garden club, tell you how to get a hold of somebody there because they've been the ones advertising for it.
We also have it on our website.
And we have it on our website. I think it might be on our Facebook page. I think I might have put it on there a couple weeks ago. So if you want to have a basket hanging and be able to drive by and say, that's in honor of Aunt Martha, this is your chance. But I think the deadline is April 15th. So you want to not wait too long for that. I think that's all I have there. Now we move on to the police department. Chief Leffencheck.
Thank you, Mayor. We did submit our police reform plan that was approved at the last meeting. So that's been submitted to the state and got the confirmation email on that. And that had to be done by today's date, but I submitted that last week. So we're all set there. Obviously, with the passage of the legislation you referenced earlier, Mayor, about the cannabis, we've issued a couple legal updates to our staff, both yesterday and today, and likely will continue to do so on a fairly regular basis as new information becomes available to us and in the way we need to approach those situations and deal with those as we move forward there. And so we'll be readily keeping our eye on that. And if there's issues or things that I feel that need to be brought to the board's attention, I'll make sure to forward those along to you and the rest of the members of the board for your consideration as it may impact the village as a whole on those other avenues. And other than that, Mayor, unless there's questions.
It's interesting. After we had passed the night your plan was passed, the pandemic operations plan was passed. And I was unclear on whether we had to do the same thing that you did, send it to somebody at the state level to let them know we had it in place. So I contacted the state and they went, what is that? I had never heard of anything like that. So, I mean, you not that we spent hours and hours and hours laboring over it, but you put something together because you think it's required of you. And I guess it was good that we did it and it's in place. And so we're all set. But I assume that we had to contact the state similar to what you did and say, here's a copy of what we've done so you can see that we absolutely have done it. I don't even know what that is. So it's in place. And in both those plans, if anybody wants, you can contact Village Hall and you can get a copy and take a look at it. The police reform is very in-depth, very well done. I think probably a model the rest of the state could probably use. So, and again, I've made this point before, but it seemed to me was pretty interesting that most of the stuff that was in there, we were already doing. We were sort of like ahead of the, okay, we do that. Okay, we do that. Okay, we do that already. And so people should be very pleased to know that their police department is probably a model for the whole state. So there you go. I want to schedule a very brief executive session for personnel matter. So put that down as item E, very brief. Just the board and the attorney probably need to be in on the executive session. Pending business, the WEP proposal. I have not heard anything from WEP. I did hear from Liverpool. They're not interested in signing up for this takeover because they have a like $4 million debt that they have no way of figuring out how they're going to ever pay it off if they don't have their sewers to get sewer rent to help pay down the debt. And so they're very concerned about, being forced to sign on. And I told them our situation that we were hoping to wait till at least the beginning of the next budget year. And I assume that there's not going to be a big issue because they haven't heard anything. It's been a month now, probably, since I mentioned something. So we'll see. Item B, water rates. Bruce mentioned this. He sent out an email to the board for consideration, something we might possibly take up at the next meeting and get that in place. So we'll move on to new business. Can I get a motion to approve an application for the correction of village taxes for the property located at 26 Edgewood Drive, tax map number 003.02-1.0 for the 2021-2022 tax year in the amount of $1,695.61. The sidewalk project levy line was incorrect.
Move.
Megan with a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Item B, a motion to approve an application for the correction of village taxes for the property located at 4 Gale Place, tax map number 021-11-8.0 for the 2021-2022 tax year in the amount of $35.16. The assessment was reduced, but the reduction was not reflected on the tax roll.
Moved.
Bruce and Ruth, any comments, questions? I will abstain since this is a relative of mine, then I just won't vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item C. Get a motion to waive the rental increases on village property until further notice.
Moved.
Megan? Ruth Seco? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item D. Can I get a motion proclaiming, well, actually, why don't I read, where did I put that? I got it here. I've got a proclamation declaring that Arbor Day is April 30th. I will read it, and if I can get a motion to accept this resolution and accept that date for Arbor Day, we'll be all set. So I'll read this quickly. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Whereas Baldwinsville has been repeatedly recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for over 32 years and desires to continue its tree planting ways. Now therefore, I, Richard A. Clark, Mayor of the Village of Baldwinsville, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day in the Village of Baldwinsville. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Can I get a motion to accept that proclamation?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That's one of the real nice things we get to do every year. Really enjoy that. Before we go into executive session, any other business that we should address publicly?
Dick, one quick thing. Do we want to just let people know that we're starting the sidewalk program next week?
We can.
Just so they have the heads up.
We're sending out letters to,
Yep.
so to remind them of what their share of the cost is and so on. Yes. And then, so what, do you have a time frame date that they're planning on starting, or is it just a rough idea?
No, the contractor wants to start Monday morning, and he said we may be done in 2 weeks. So we know we've got a couple properties we've got to look at a little more. I talked with Bob tonight about one of them. Greg's been good. He stepped up. He's taking care of all the letters for us, and I believe he's got the letters. They all went out except for the one property, and we got to check on that tomorrow. But hopefully we'll be, this sidewalk will be wrapped up in a couple, 3 weeks.
Good. And the
Chuck,
pavement,
can you just mention where they're gonna be so people will know
Well,
where
there's,
there'll be work going on?
right, the bigger portion of them are Syracuse Street and Mildred Ave. And after that, there's some on Curtis, there's some on Genesee, they're spotty after that.
Okay.
this is kind of us catching up and completing, areas we missed or the ones that were at the end. And then there's, like Chuck says, there's a couple of spots where we just didn't do one or two, and we're going back and finish those. So hopefully we'll be pretty close to being able to sort of stand back and say all the sidewalks are done. We do have one big project that we hope to get done, trying to find some financing to help us get it done in a hurry, and that would be the strip on East Genesee Street from Curtis up to Festa Fairway. And that's going to take a little, there's going to be some excavation involved in that. There's some ground that's not even, and that's sort of on our radar down in the near future. And then we're doing Tappan and Downer Street as far as paving, and that's this
Correct.
month too.
I'm not sure. We may have to put we might have to rebid it, but I'm not sure if it'll be done the end of this month or what. We wanted to tag off of Lysander's contract. They got a great contract a couple of years ago, and they're doing it again this year, but I don't think the company wants to allow us to get on that, and they have to agree to it. So we've got, that's what they notified me today, and we'll have to look into that a little more.
Okay. All right. Anything else that we need to mention before we adjourn to executive session? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss personnel matters? Mark Wilder, Ruth Seco, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.